want to watch.
All right, Mr. Simpson, would you please stand and face the jury? Mrs. Robertson.
Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles, in the matter of the people of the state of California versus Orenthal James Simpson, case number BA097211. We, the jury, in the above entitled action, find the defendant Orenthal James Simpson not guilty of the crime of murder in violation of Penal Code Section 187A, a felony upon Nicole Brown Simpson, a human being, as charged in count 1 of the information.
How's it going, guys? Welcome to Fatberg. I got a new video format today. This will probably be the last, format of video I do, but this is something I want to do for a while. This is a video series I'm going to be titling Fatbergs Most Wanted. I'm going to be doing it in the format of a tier list because I don't think an actual, FBI's Most Wanted type list would really function for what I'm doing here. I also want to apologize. I'm working off a bit of a cold right now. It's fucking 30 degrees in Florida, so that's what happens. For today's video, we're going to be talking about the murderer of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman. Now, this is difficult. This is a difficult one to get into, and I want to say this here. I'm not going to be breaking new ground with anything here. I'm not going to be presenting any new ideas or theories. It's a fucking dense case, and I think it was made dense. I feel as though it was pretty cut and dry. Where the fuck do I even begin with this? This one was a bad idea. For a few reasons. One of them being is a lot of people really do think OJ didn't do it. Now, I'm personally of the mind that the evidence was flawed, but I think OJ did it. I do think that, him being, acquitted and shit like that, that's kind of, justifiable because there was a lot of issues with the case, but I also truly believe he fucking did it. I also, I've gotten into arguments online with people about this, and I also feel as though, why defend him, of all people? Because, he has a history of abuse and, mistreatment of his wife and shit like that. He's not, a good person. And there's people on death row right now who are, almost definitely fucking innocent. But you're OJ got away with it. It's done. Whether or not you agree or whatever, it doesn't matter. He got away with it. So, why are you still defending this fucking guy? He beat the shit out of his wife in front of his kids. Fuck him.
He just drove up again.
He just drove up.
Over.
Okay, wait a minute. What kind of car is he in?
He's in a white Bronco. But first of all, he broke the back door down to get in.
Okay, wait a minute. What's your name?
Nicole Simpson.
So let's set that aside, right? We're going to be looking at this from the point of view that, OJ didn't do it. That he was acquitted of the charges. I mean, as far as the law is concerned, somebody else must have done it. So, who? On the evening of June 12th, 1994, Nicole Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman were stabbed to death outside of her home. Nicole was found lying in the fetal position surrounded by blood. Nicole had been stabbed 7 times, including a slash across her throat so deep it nearly decapitated her. Alongside this, she suffered defensive wounds to her hands. And this is something I really want to hammer home here because this whole case was kind of treated as a joke, and it still kind of is to this day. I mean, I'm fucking guilty of it. I did a little bit at the start here, but how do I say this? This is the one rare case where I would actually implore you to look up the uncensored photos of the murder because it is brutal. It is a horrific crime. It's not funny. She was very seriously fucking murdered, and so was Ron. And everybody fucking laughed about it because of the whole O.J. Simpson connection. And it's like, no, this is a horrific fucking crime. And this is like the rare case, again, where I would ask you to take a look. Like, take a look at it and tell me that this is fucking funny. Like, it's not. Like, she was horrifically murdered. Now, on the part of Ron, Ron had either arrived during or very shortly after her death. He was attempting to return a pair of reading glasses Nichole had left behind at the restaurant he worked at. It's believed that Goldman attempted to defend himself. He was trained in some sort of like martial arts or something. Again, not a joke. He was trained, but was overpowered by the attacker. They were able to recreate things kind of, and he was definitely a very large, strong man. Bigger than Ron, bigger than Nichole. Ron suffered many minor slashes and cuts before severe injuries were sustained. Goldman was ultimately restrained from behind because this guy was just so much bigger than him, and he had his throat slit as well, likely bleeding out in minutes. The leading suspect in this case was Nichole's ex-husband, Orenthal James Simpson, a famous football player and actor who Nichole divorced due to a history of abuse perpetrated by OJ. That's a matter of fact. You can look it up. Like, there's recordings and police reports. OJ beat the shit out of Nichole. He was violent. Simpson was found not guilty after a controversial trial, and as of now, the killer or killers are still at large. And now, okay, so I'll accept OJ didn't do it if that's the verdict, right? I accept that there were issues with the trial. There was, like, things were mishandled. There was the whole fucking Mark Furman thing, who was a racist piece of shit who shouldn't have been a cop. There were problems. There were a lot of problems with the investigation and the trial. What I will not accept is that the justice system has allowed this brutal killing to go unsolved and under-investigated. I mean, after everything was said and done, we all just kind of threw our hands up like, whatever, I guess that's done. The only one who kept looking was OJ. And at least that's what he said he was doing. I think he was doing some other shit.
Prepare to witness the most highly anticipated video of the year. You won't believe your eyes as you witness O.J. Simpson performing hilarious hidden camera jokes, outrageous pranks, and shocking stunts on unsuspecting people all across America.
Nichole and Ron were brutally murdered in practically broad daylight as far as murders go, just outside of a fucking home in LA. And we have nothing to show for it. Now, there's nothing I can add to the case about OJ's possible involvement that hasn't already been said, but I ask this: if not OJ, then who? One theory was O.J. Simpson's son, Jason, committed the murder. Jason reportedly had a history of mental illness and violent behavior. It is speculated that he had an obsession with his stepmother, Nichole, and killed her out of jealousy, and O.J. helped cover up the crime. The evidence supporting this is loose, to say the least. Some have argued that the evidence was obtained through possibly illegal means, and there is some evidence of his, mental health background, but there's nothing to say that he gave a shit about Nichole or did anything, really. So we could probably throw that one out. Another theory still kind of connecting OJ is that he didn't do it, but he hired a murderer to kill her for him. This theory has almost no evidence to substantiate it, and it's straight up, like, people, they're not saying, like, he hired a hitman, they're saying, like, he hired, like, a serial killer to fucking go take her out or some shit, and there's nothing there. Like, the only thing they have is, I believe there was, like, some footprints at the scene that weren't, like, identified, but, like, it was probably just a cop or something walking around. Like, there's nothing for that. But a final, hotly debated theory is that Nichole and Ron were murdered by Colombian cocaine dealers. Now, this theory states that Nichole's friend and house guest, Faye Resnick, owed money to drug dealers as she was a cocaine addict. Nichole supposedly was wrapped up in an altercation with them and called OJ to get money to pay them back. But when he arrived, she was already dead, and OJ fled in a panic, fearing that he would be blamed for it. Ron also had a friend who was murdered in a similar manner. Theorists associate the throat slicing with a Colombian necktie, which is, primarily attributed to Colombian gangsters. Alongside all this, there are many very loose connections between Nichole and her friends to mobsters in the area, although most of this simply could be attributed to Nichole just being, a wealthy individual connected to the nightlife in the area. There isn't really any hard evidence there, but that's one of the most, well laid out theories. I believe it was tried, or they did try to present it in court, but it was, thrown out because there was just fucking nothing there. So what are we left with? Well, as it stands, nothing. Again, nothing. Those are the three, hotly debated theories. We don't have any other real suspects. The police don't. And as it stands, the murderers are still out there. OJ, after he was acquitted, said he was going to find the real killers. He claimed that he loved his wife dearly, using that as a defense even. And again, as I said before, look into the actual murder. Look into that aspect of the case. Not the theories, not the suspects. Look into the fact that these two people were fucking butchered and the justice system just kind of let it go as far as we're concerned. Now, I say OJ didn't do it, but he was found liable for their deaths in a civil case, and there is the fact that being acquitted of a crime doesn't necessarily mean you're not guilty exactly. It just means that the justice system doesn't have enough evidence to convict you. So we can say OJ didn't do it, but I mean,
Simpson did it! Simpson did it! No!
Again, I'm putting this in the D level of the tier list here, and I mean the very fucking bottom of the list, because again, it's not like this is still happening, right? There's not there's not a fucking string of fucking white lady Jewish friend murders happening in the area, and to be honest with you, I think we know what happened. So this goes at the very bottom of Fatberg's Most Wanted in D. Now, this list is going to change and sort of evolve over time, and there's going to be more added to it as we go along. I think the next one I'll do something higher up there, something legitimately fucked up that we need to figure out who the fuck this is. But thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more.